All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Deanna and I for releasing shame through the chakras. We're going to take a moment just to close our eyes, get settled in, get here, and then we'll get going. So if you will, if you're not already muted, please mute yourself. Close your eyes, take a deep, nourishing breath. And just allow yourself to get present, to be here as much as you're able for the next hour. Let go of texting and phone calls and other responsibilities as much as you're able. And allow your heart to be open to whatever you're meant to receive or let go of in our time together today. So whether you're with us live or you're listening to the replay, I thank you so much for being here, and just allow yourself to really be here. And take one more deep, nourishing breath. And I believe that I have it set up where, you know what, if I can see you, you can raise your hand, or if you're on a phone, you can speak up. But pretty much we're not going to have questions until the end. So I'm going to turn it over to Deanna to start teaching us now.
Thanks, Ruthie. Welcome, everybody. Not sure where you all are in terms of your knowledge of the chakras. I know those of you that are on the phone can't raise your hands, but those of you, do each of you that are here right now have a little bit of an idea about chakras? I'm thinking you might have since you came on, but if you would, just by a show of hands. Great. Fantastic. Well, thank you all. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time getting into the specifics of chakras, but I want to take you through a little bit of PowerPoint and some information, a little bit more, a little different than you might have experienced or learned about in the past, but it'll also cover anyone else that may not have any idea about chakras but they just came for the topic. And so, Ruthie, can you see the PowerPoint now that I shared? Beautiful.
Yes.
So the chakras are described as being aligned in an ascending column from the base of the spine to the top of the head. And the function is to spin their wheels, their discs, to spin and draw in this energy to keep the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health of the body in balance. And so at the base of the spine is the root chakra, which is your basic trust. Moving on up just below the belly button is your sacral chakra, where sexuality and creativity reside, that center there. The solar plexus, moving on up to the center, where there's your wisdom and power, your willpower. We're going to be talking a lot more about that as we move in. Move on, the heart chakra at the center, which is our love and healing. And then the throat chakra is communication. And then the third eye, the awareness, and then on up to the crown for spirituality. Now, these are the 7 major chakras. There's others, and there are other ways to look at additional chakras, but these are the 7 ones that most everybody talks about in whether they're energy centers or chakras. A lot of the work that we're going to talk about today is based upon the book called Eastern Body, Western Mind. And Anna Dea Judith, she is the one who wrote this book and has been studying it for years. She's got a PhD and master's in psychology and health. She's been a senior yoga teacher for many years and has studied a variety of other forms of psychology and mysticism and whatnot. And she calls chakras the wheels that heal. And I really like that idea because they're this opportunity for healing that occurs when a wheel flows well. You know, when energy moves, it's good. And so the word chakra literally translates into wheel or disc and refers to that spinning sphere of bioenergetic activity emanating from the major nerve ganglia branching outward or forward from the spinal column. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more in a few minutes. The other person who's well known in the energy healing community is Donna Eden and her husband David Feinstein. Donna is an energy healer. David is a psychologist by trade. They have merged their work together to create Eden Energy Medicine. And there's a couple key things that Donna talked about in this book called Energy Medicine for Women. She again also points out that in Sanskrit, the word chakra is about a disc or vortex, and that the chakras are concentrated centers of energy. Each major center in the human body is a center of swirling energy at one of 7 points from the base of your spine to the top of your head. And the key thing that I really wanted to pull out of this is that if you're familiar with the energy meridians, so acupuncture, acupressure, and those of us who love tapping, we use the acupressure or acupuncture meridians to stimulate movement in the body. And those energy meridians deliver their energy directly to the specific organs. It's all intertwined, but when we tap here, we're actually tapping on the stomach meridian. When we tap on the collarbone, this is the kidney meridian. So it's actually shifting the energy in those meridians that run throughout our body. The chakras bathe the organs in their energy. So it is a broader, wider kind of moving piece as opposed to maybe the line that shows up with energy meridians. Ruthi and I are avid studiers of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, and one of the quotes that I found here I really loved, and I thought you might too, is that you are powerful enough to influence matter because at the most elementary level, you are energy. We are all energy with a consciousness. Therefore, you are mindful matter. And what he's meaning by that, and how he goes on to describe it in his book called Becoming Supernatural, that we are literally beings of light and energy. So when you see that the chakras have these different colors, that's part of it. It's the light that is being emanated from each of these. And the other thing that I thought was pretty interesting to just point out is that within each of those 7 major energy centers, there are organs, there's other things, but if you go backwards, we start out as an atom, and then it moves into, the atom divides and becomes a molecule, and then the molecule becomes chemical, and then it moves on to become a full cell. And then those cells collect and they form tissue, and that tissue then forms into an organ such as the heart. And that heart is part of the vascular system, which is part of the body. And the reason why I wanted to point this out to you is that each energy center or chakra creates a field of energy and information. Again, a field of energy and information giving instructions on how to function. And that is happening within you and all around you. So that there's this energy and we are light, and it's happening inside and all around. Now, the basic premise of this work is that the human being needs a balance between 2 currents. There's a current of liberating, so from the base chakra, moving on up to the sacral and all the way out the crown. So that is the liberating current. And that's where we grow and expand and liberate, and we get knowledge and we create from there, and we move on up to these higher centers. But it's equally important to bring it back down in the manifesting current, so that if we don't have manifestation, we become aimless and empty and dreamers, and we fly around. So we want to, the idea is to have this current flowing in both directions, so that we can really fully experience all there is in life, and be at one with ourselves and others. So what happens? Because we all know that it doesn't always flow as perfectly as we would like. And there's stress, trauma, abuse, etc. And the way that Anadea Judith talks about it is that they're counter forces to the natural flow of that chakra energy, so that whether it needs to be liberated or manifest, because each chakra will do both as it moves up or down. And I liked Lisa Peterson, who is a friend and a mentor of mine. She is the founder of Wealth Clinic, and she calls them bruises in her soon-to-be released I Prosper book. And I like the term bruises better than some of the other terms that are out there. People will talk about blocks and other things. But if we go back to Anadea Judith's concept, she says they're wheels that heal. And when we think about a bruise, we bump into something, we learn from it, we figure it out, and the body actually has this innate nature to heal itself. We might need to go, get some ointment or do some other things. So it's an interactive process. But I love the idea of a bruise that has the opportunity to heal. And I'm going to pause here for a moment and just really kind of allow you to look at this, because those bumps and those bruises, what happens is at the first chakra, it's dealing with your survival, it's your basic needs. And that what it's blocked by, so that block or bruise is fear. That's central to this. And this is Anadea Judith's teachings. And moving on up to pleasure with the second, it's dealing with pleasure, but it's blocked by guilt. The third is our willpower, and it's blocked by shame. And that is something that we're going to talk more about. And Ruthi and I think that it's really more pervasive in a lot of different ways, but that there is a key component to that third chakra getting bruised or blocked by shame. The fourth is blocked or bruised by grief. Fifth is dealing with truth, and it's blocked by lies. Oftentimes, a lot of this is happening when we're really young, and we don't even know that that's what it is. And so now we're adults, and we're bumping into things that we don't even realize that are locked in the unconscious mind. And that's where the sixth is dealing with insight, and it's blocked by illusion. You can think about things that might have happened as a kid. Some of us are really intuitive and might have seen things or heard things that made a lot of sense to us, but our adults didn't think it was right. Shut that down. And that turns back in on itself. And then the seventh, cosmic energy, and it's blocked by our ego attachment. We get a little too attached to things and our stories. And, and so rather than having that full divinity available to us to bring back down and to manifest. This is kind of a complicated slide. I won't spend a lot of time here, but the main thing that I really wanted you to also get is that people will talk about chakras in terms of the emotional components, and this is very true, but remember that also within those are all those organs within each of the chakras. And we're going to focus a lot on the third, so that who am I in the world, taking care of yourself, healing, those sorts of things. And within that is your pancreas, your stomach, your gallbladder, your small intestines. There's a lot going on in there. And we want that to be running smoothly. And there's also a connection, a linked connection with the third to the fifth. And the fifth, if you can imagine, when you're starting to get your willpower when you're a kid, at 2 years old, you're not only kind of getting your will, but you're getting your voice, and it's starting to get clearer, right? So the fifth is talking and speaking and assimilating. And here's our thyroid and our esophagus, and it supplies the lungs. And so there's a mixture of energies and organs that they're all intertwined. I guess I already alluded to this a few moments ago, but each of the chakras, they have corresponding energies. They're combined currents in their development. And so the first and the seventh, the second and the sixth, and the third and the fifth. And again, this is the one that we'll spend a little bit more time on, but just for your information, that these things they're currents that are also intertwined. And this one is one that I really like to sort of sit with, and Anadea calls this the rights of the chakras. As we are moving through life from the base up, the first is that right to be here. The second, the right to feel. The third, the right to act. We're starting to kind of move up and move out, right? The fourth is to engage in love, and to have that kind of give and receive. The fifth, to speak our truth. The sixth, to seek. And the seventh, to know. And again, these are rights. And I hadn't really thought about it that way, but these are our rights that we all have, each and every one of us. And kind of goes back to what happens. There are these bruises and things that show up along the way. And so this is just an opportunity for us to gain some insight and knowledge. And sometimes having that knowledge and insight also allows for the opportunity to release those things, gain the wisdom, and move on. The other concept that I wanted to run past you is the idea that our emotions, they create an energetic frequency. So much like the lights and the chakras and that energy wheel, right? There's a frequency to it. And the emotions they run the scale. So, and shame is at the bottom. So it's the lowest in terms of the energetic frequency that they've been able to measure. This is from Robert Hawkins' Power versus Force teachings. And Ruthi and I have now been spending quite a bit of time on shame because it is really a sneaky thief, and it hides in all sorts of places that we don't even realize. As we grow older, we create other ways, and it's masked by guilt and grief and anger and all sorts of other things. And so as we shine a light on it, we can heal it, we can gain the wisdom, and move into that free-flowing place with those rights we were just talking about. And so now, as those blockages, as those bruises start to heal, we really start to know from that liberating energy that our root at the first, that physical survival is taken care of. Our second, we have the, we get to identify our authentic desires, not ones that have gotten kind of mangled up with all the bruises and the information. So we actually flow properly. In that third, there's a solid definition of our ego and where we are in this physical form. And the fourth, creating those healthy relationships. The fifth, opening and authentic communication. So we can speak our truth. We're not always going to be happy. We will have all of it available to us, and it can come out in authentic and compassionate ways when everything's flowing. The third eye, that intuitive awareness that shows up in the sixth, and then the crown, that spiritual awakening as we connect to the divine. Coming back down in the manifesting, right? The manifesting current. Now we recognize our divine creative power. From that place, we can create a clear vision. We communicate that vision. And the fourth, we have this nurturance and love and vision, not only for others, but for ourselves. It's this beautiful give and take of both. And on down to the third, where we are planning and taking action, because we are living here. We're living in this world where we want to manifest. And the second is where we get to have some fun. Enjoy the journey. Have a good time along the way, and experience our manifestation of that vision right here, right now, in this experience. So those are the things that I wanted to run past you. I'll stop sharing at this point. Ruthi, I don't know how we're doing on time. If there's room for some questions, if people had questions.
Well, I just want to, we'll see if we can get to questions, but I want to mention that I know for the folks on the phone who haven't been able to see the slides, that there was a lot of information, and I hope you'll take the time to watch this later when you get the recording, because I think you really need the slides to really get what Deanna's saying. So I'm going to give you the very shortened version of what is important here. We store these bruises that Lisa Peterson calls them. We store these hurts in our bodies in our chakras. And Anodea Judith believes that shame is mainly stored in the third chakra, which is the solar plexus. You're right below your heart, that area between your belly button and your heart. And that is known as the power center. So think about it. If you're stuck in shame, you don't have any power. And so a lot of what we're doing, we're going to do some tapping here in a minute, is to help release that shame as much as we can to give you your power back. And I love the way Deanna pointed out how the third and the fifth are so related, the fifth being your throat chakra, that if you don't have your power, you can't speak up. It's that simple. So as you start taking your power back, you're able to start speaking up and speaking your truth in a bigger way. And I want to mention one other thing, and this is just an interesting thing I hadn't even thought about, and Deanna, I hadn't told you this, that Deanna and I have been working on shame for several months now, and some of the folks that are on this call right now were with us when we did a 6-week course on this in the fall. And so we've been working on, and before we did that, for several months before this, so it's been close to a year now, I think, that we've been working on shame on ourselves and then with our clients, with people that chose to be in that first class. And what I have found is really interesting, Deanna, and I'm sharing this to all of you, is I don't have as much throat clearing issues as I used to. So as we've been working through shame, it has helped my voice. So it's not perfect, but it's just an interesting thought. Light bulb moment. So now I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions, and you can unmute yourselves or raise your hand or whatever, and we'll just take a couple minutes for questions before we jump into doing some tapping. And there were a couple people on the phone that I muted because there's a little noise coming in, so I'm going to unmute you in case you want to. Not sure who the other one was. Nobody has any questions?
Cool. This is Dottie. I will have to go and look at the replay because Deanna was talking mighty fast. She covered a lot of ground.
He did.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Dottie. I'm a little nervous, and I'm excited to share it with you. So, yeah, it'll be good to be able to see it on the replay and slow it down a little bit.
Any other comments before we shift gears? Okay. So Dottie, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. And
did I not just mute myself?
Well, I can hear you now.
Well, *6, right?
I'm not sure what it is on a phone.
Yeah, I just hit the mute button on my phone on the call.
Oh, there's a mute button?
Mm-hmm. But I think *6 also works.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you.
Good.
Okay. So there are many ways of dealing with clearing shame and other emotions from the body, but we're EFT practitioners, so you can probably figure out what we're going to do now. We're going to do some tapping to do what we can to release shame from our bodies. So I'm going to be focusing on the chakras, mainly the lower ones, but we're going to go through the chakras. I'm not going to specifically say the fourth chakra when I say heart, and I'm not going to say the throat chakra when I talk about speaking your truth, but hopefully you'll get that they go together. So I'm going to do a quick review of tapping, since I don't know if everybody here is familiar with tapping. But tapping, or EFT, emotional freedom techniques, is a form of energy psychology where we literally do what Deanna was talking about, and that we stimulate the endpoints, the meridian endpoints. And we literally lightly tap on these points as we say what I'm going to have you say, but where you're focusing on whatever your issue is that you want to work on. And we tell it like it is. We tell the truth when we do tapping, and then we work into the more positives. So, for example, if you were totally stressed out and upset, you wouldn't say, I'm calm and confident when you're, totally freaking out. We start with where you are. But for this tapping, it's going to be focusing on shame in your body. And I'm going to run through the points real quick, and then we're going to do this. So going to the side of the hand, and for those of you on the phone, if you're brand new to tapping, this is the opposite side from the thumb. So it's under the pinky finger. At one point, this was called the karate chop point, but that's been considered not to be politically correct. So we just say side of the hand now. And you're going to lightly tap with the palm of your hand or 4 fingers of the other hand as we do a setup phrase. And usually we do a setup phrase 3 times, and then I like to take a deep breath before we move on. And I usually go to the eyebrow point, which is right between the eyes, right, what I call the Botox point, right between the eyebrows. Excuse me, I said that incorrectly. I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off so I can tap more easily. The next point is the side of the eye, and you can do one hand or both, usually done with 2 fingers. And what we're going to do today is a little bit different than a reminder phrase. So normally in tapping, we do a short reminder phrase, but I'm going to have you do a little bit longer phrases as we do this today. The next one is under the eye, and it's right on the bone. And you're welcome to tap with me while I do this, that just doing the tapping is calming, lowers your cortisol level. The next one is under the nose. And again, it's just lightly tapping with 2 fingers. The next one is called the chin, but it's actually the little cleft between the lip and the chin. And the next one is called the collarbone. And get that you see a little better. You actually find your collarbone and go down an inch and out an inch. So for those of you that think in centimeters, that'd be 2 centimeters or so. So down a couple centimeters and out a couple centimeters. So you're a little bit closer to your shoulders, to your arms, and most people can find a little notch here that just feels like the right spot. And the next spot is called the underarm. Some people do the crossbody thing. Some of us do the same side. Again, one hand or both, it doesn't matter. And it's about 4 inches below the underarm, or for the ladies, that's down at the bottom of the bra line. And there are wrist points, finger points, etc., but we're just going to go to the top of the head after that. And we'll take a breath and see where we are. So we do what's called a SUDS level, subjective units of distress scale, which is just 0 to 10. And for our purposes today, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for a moment and check in with the feeling of shame in your body. Now, some of you may easily be able to get in touch with that, and some of you may not have a clue what that feels like. And that's okay. But I want you to see if you can come up with a number. So 10 being I am filled with shame. I feel it everywhere. And shame thoughts are usually things like I'm not good enough, something's wrong with me, I don't belong, I don't have a right to feel, I can't make a mistake. It's where your perfectionism and your procrastination comes from. Also, your complaining and blaming comes from shame. So see if you can get that number for shame for yourself. And let's go ahead and do some tapping. So, Georgia, would you be willing to be my echo? Okay. I'll let you unmute yourself while I grab a sip of water. And by the way, I recommend that everybody get a sip of water, because what we're doing is energy work, and it's good to be well hydrated to conduct energy. Okay, I believe everybody else should be muted. If you're not, I guess we'll find out.
I do tend to yawn a lot when I get
Good.
going,
I do
so
too.
don't be surprised. And then my nose gets stuffed, and then I have to wipe my eyes, and I'm not crying.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Georgia. Signs of energy movement are yawning, sighing, or even burping. And those are all good things when we're doing tapping.
Yeah.
So actually, before we start, does anybody have any questions specific about doing tapping before we actually do some tapping? Anyone? Okay. So I'm going to assume that everybody is taking responsibility for themselves and choosing to tap with us, and that you all know what you're doing enough that you feel comfortable with it. And as I said, these phrases are going to be longer than usual, so I'm going to break it up quite a bit. So everybody go to the side of the hand, take a deep breath, and repeating after me. Even though I've been carrying shame,
Even though I've been carrying shame
in my lower chakras for a long time,
in my lower chakras for a long time,
I'm learning to love and accept myself exactly as I am.
I'm learning to love and accept myself exactly as I am.
So even though I may or may not know where this shame came from,
Even though I may or may not know where the shame came from,
I'm ready to acknowledge it,
I'm ready to acknowledge it,
become more aware of it,
become more aware of it,
learn from it,
learn from it,
and release that which is safe to release,
and release that which is safe to release,
and let it go today.
and let it go today.
And even though shame and other limiting emotions
And even though shame and other limiting emotions
have been stored all throughout my body,
have been stored all throughout my body,
especially in my lower chakras,
especially in my lower chakras,
for many years,
for many years,
I'm truly okay
I'm truly okay
and ready to let this go now.
and ready to let this go now.
All right, everybody stop tapping and take a deep breath. And going to the eyebrow point. This is great. I'm seeing lots of yawns. I love it. At the eyebrow point. I am now giving all of my chakras.
I am now giving all of my chakras,
In fact, my whole body, mind, and spirit,
and in fact, my whole body, mind, and spirit,
permission to release and let go
permission to release and let go
of this old understanding of myself based in shame.
of this old understanding of myself based in shame.
Side of the eye. I'm acknowledging the feelings of fear and shame in my root chakra.
I'm acknowledging that the feelings of fear and shame in my root chakra,
and how this may have left me feeling unsafe in the world.
and how this may have left me feeling unsafe in the world.
Under the eye. Excuse me. I'm acknowledging the feelings of guilt and shame
I'm acknowledging the feelings of guilt and shame
in my second chakra,
in my second chakra,
and how this may have left me feeling unsafe to create
and how this may have left me feeling unsafe to create
and enjoy my life.
and enjoy my life.
Under the nose. I recognize the strong feelings of shame stored in my third chakra.
I recognize the strong feelings of shame stored in my third chakra
that may have kept me from feeling powerful,
that may have kept me from feeling powerful,
and choose to learn from it now,
and choose to learn from it now,
and to take charge now.
and to take charge now.
Where were we? Oh yeah, chin. In the past,
In the past,
I have held these beliefs and feelings
I have held these beliefs and feelings
of unworthiness.
of unworthiness.
I don't belong.
I don't belong.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Something is wrong with me.
Something is wrong with me.
I don't have the right to feel.
I don't have the right to feel.
I don't have the right to be heard.
I don't have the right to be heard.
I don't have the right to act.
I don't have the right to act.
all lodged in my chakras.
all lodged in my chakras.
And today I give myself full permission
Today I give myself full permission
to release this imprint of shame now.
to release this imprint of shame now.
Collarbone. I give myself permission to step fully into my power,
I give myself permission to step fully into my power,
releasing as much shame as my body, do that again, releasing as much shame as my body, mind, and spirit is ready to let go of.
releasing as much shame as my body, mind, and spirit is ready to let go of.
Under the arm. I choose to live from my heart,
I choose to live from my heart,
serving and loving with compassion and understanding.
serving and loving with compassion and understanding.
Top of the head. I'm just letting Andrea get finished with that yawn. I choose to speak my truth.
I choose to speak my truth.
I am trusting that as I am learning to speak my truth,
I'm trusting that as I'm learning to speak my truth
with love and empathy,
with love and empathy,
we all step more fully into our power together now.
we all step more fully into our power together now.
Back to the eyebrow. I choose to use my intuition and knowing
I choose to use my intuition and knowing
to make healthier and more powerful choices
to make healthier and more powerful choices
for myself and all those around me.
for myself and all those around me.
Side of the eye. I acknowledge my connection to the divine,
I acknowledge my connection to the divine,
stepping more fully into my divine power.
stepping more fully into my divine power
Under the eye. With love and grace,
with love and grace,
healing and joy,
healing and joy,
and especially gratitude.
and especially gratitude.
Under the nose. My mind, body, and spirit
My mind, body, and spirit
are receiving this divine love,
are receiving this divine love,
healing,
healing,
permission,
permission,
and joy with gratitude in my heart.
and joy with gratitude in my heart.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody to stop tapping and put your hands over your heart and take a deep breath. And I want you to imagine that you have a power circle out in front of you. And in this power circle is the ability and the permission to take back your power, your knowing, your truth, your love, your compassion. And I'm going to invite you to step into your power circle in your imagination now. And imagine your power circle being filled with divine love, grace, beauty, healing, joy, and fun. Just breathe that in. And as you breathe out, you're letting go of that shame, guilt, frustration, anger, all those lower vibrations that may have held you back, letting go of as much as you can right now in this moment. I'm going to ask everybody to put their shoulders back, head held high, and feel that power, that love, that healing, that gratitude all throughout your chakras, all throughout your body, heart, mind, and soul in a big, beautiful way. And when you're ready, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. And before you say anything, I'm going to ask you to check back in for that feeling of shame, that suds level we got at the beginning, and just notice if it shifted for you. So the way I had set it up is the higher the shame number, the higher the shame you were feeling. So I want to know by a raise of hands, has anybody noticed a shift that yes, that shame feeling is lower for you now? So for those of you, I can see your hands. Okay, great. So seems like a lot of you did have shifts. Cool. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about, so Deanna and I both mentioned, or I think we may have both mentioned, that we've been working on shame for many months, and that we did a program, a 6-week program in the fall called Releasing the Weight of Shame, and we're getting ready to do that program again. So I want to share with you the information about that if that interests you, if you'd like to go deeper into shame and healing shame. Obviously, nobody wants to stay stuck in shame. So let me get where I can share my screen. So hang on 1 minute. I'm going to have to. Okay. Now I can share my screen. So we're redoing this program starting February 5th, and it's called Time to Shine, Releasing the Weight of Shame. So as I mentioned, there's a few people on this call that took it the last time around, and we've done some tweaks. We're going to add some more of the chakra work into it. But I want to share with you, if this interests you, what that program includes. So we start with the shame rules, and actually you're not going to be able to see this. So Connie Dawson wrote a book called Life Beyond Shame, Rewriting the Rules, and I love this book, especially where she talks about the shame rules that we learned young and that we live by, and that there's new rules, the new rules and the new ways we can learn to do things. So this is a great place to start in releasing and letting go of shame. Then we're going to get into shame lies. What we were talking about today about I'm not good enough and something's wrong with me, that whole story that we've been telling ourselves for all these years, that is just a lie. It's just shame lying to you. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to do more tapping, more releasing shame. And we're going to get into the complicated feelings. So we'll probably get back into the chakras there and how everything gets stored in the body. And you guys know this, that those of us with health issues, a lot of that is related to the feelings, the emotions we're storing in our body, shame being a really big one. And as Deanna mentioned, shame is the base, it's the bottom, it's the lowest emotion you can feel. So that's why we want to get rid of that sucker as much as we possibly can. So we're going to talk about the conflicting parts that we feel, and then we're going to really step into living life a different way. Living from a whole fullness, I guess is the best word, that honestly, and I'm going to let Deanna share, and if anybody else who took the class before, you're welcome to share too. But I can't even begin to tell you how much my life has shifted since we've been doing this stuff. I've just been able to do this kind of thing, putting myself out in the world in a way that I haven't been able to in the past. And I think other people would say the same thing. So we end up getting to this place of letting life be fun, easy, and divinely guided. No more letting shame run the show. It doesn't mean we'll get 100% rid of it. Things will happen. You will feel shame again. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you'll never have shame again. That would be a lie. But you'll have more awareness. You'll be able to deal with it much more easily, and it's just huge. It makes such a huge difference. So we're offering the course. So it'll be 6 live Zoom calls. And we're doing these at, Deanna, unmute yourself and share the times. I'm not remembering right now.
Yeah, it will be at 9 a.m. So it'll be on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern.
No, Pacific.
So wait a minute. So 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 5 p.m. UK.
Right. We had several people from the UK sign up, and this is midnight for them, or actually it's almost 1 a.m. for them now. So we decided we needed to do this call earlier in the day. So that's one of the reasons we're moving earlier. And it's going to be 60 to 75 minutes. You'll get the recording of this plus the PDF of the tapping script that I did today. So if you sign up for the call, you'll get that. Of course, you'll get the recordings for all the calls, and we edit out the tapping and the meditation, so you can just do those pieces separately if you want to. We'll have a Facebook group where Deanna and I will jump in and do Facebook Lives when we're feeling brave enough. And you'll get a mini session with each of us, so that's a 30-minute session. That's a private session that you get included in the price, and I'll tell you something else about that in a minute. And we are starting what we're calling Time to Shine monthly membership club in April. So if you sign up for this club, for this 6-week program, you'll get the first month free of that. And all of this is only $197. And not only that, if this really speaks to you, if your soul is saying, yes, I need to do this, if you sign up within the next 48 hours, we'll turn those 2 mini sessions into full sessions. So you will literally be getting you'll be getting the 6-week course, the 1 month free, plus the 2 sessions for less than the cost of 2 sessions. So I hope I said that clearly. I kind of got tongue-tied on my sessions. So just wanted to let you know that's what we're offering if it speaks to you. If not, totally understand, and we greatly appreciate you joining us for the free call. And I'm going to stop sharing and open it up for questions, comments, suggestions, and any of the people who took the class last time. If you want to share anything that you got out of it, please do. And Georgia's raising her hand, so I'll let Georgia speak.
It was a great course. I really appreciated it. It really gave me a more solid foundation to just be more aware of what's coming up and how to work with it. So I'm really grateful for it.
Thank you, Georgia. And I want to say one thing I forgot to say. Shame is very sneaky. It likes the dark. It likes hiding. It really wants you not to take this course. But the thing about the course is about being in community. It's about being with people who are working on the same stuff, who are admitting, yeah, I have that I'm not good enough feeling. I have that something wrong with me feeling. I have that if you really knew me, you couldn't stand me kind of feeling. We all have it. So being able to come out of the closet, if you will, and be honest and share with other people is huge. And shame doesn't like it at all. So it's one of the quicker ways, if you will, to deal with shame. Yeah, Andrea.
I took the class, and I would say one of the things I recognize is that I'm more easily able to recognize when someone tries to shame me. So that's something that's come up. That's
beautiful. Someone asked, do you feel like you can stay in your power more and not take that in when somebody
Yeah. And even like call them on it if I choose to, or just let it go.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, kind of a beautiful expression, right? Being able to have your power and speak your truth.
Yeah, it goes with the throat chakra, I think, being able to voice my truth, as Deanna says.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Well, if nobody else has any questions or comments, then I will bring this to a close with a last little grounding. And we'll stay on for a few more minutes if anybody has any questions. But for those of you that are ready to go, I'm just going to ask everybody to close your eyes one more time. And take another deep, nourishing breath. And putting your shoulders back one more time, holding your head up. I want you to just imagine life from a place of power, a place of worthiness, a place of self-love and acceptance. This is totally possible for you. Maybe not 100% of the time, but definitely it can be your base, your go-to, your come from. And before you open your eyes, I'm just going to ask you to scan your heart, your soul, your mind, and just see if this class speaks to you, the 6-week course. If it does, great. We'll give you the link when we send out the replay. And if not, fine. You've gotten what you needed. And we appreciate you being here with us. But mainly listen to your truth, your knowledge, your knowing. And take one last deep, nourishing, loving breath. And open your eyes, coming back to here and now, feeling refreshed, nourished. And I thank you all for being here. I'm gonna, let's see, if I did it right, I've unmuted everyone that I could. I think everybody else has to unmute themselves if you can. So if there's anything you'd like to say or share before we go, feel free to. Or if you have a question, please share.
This is Dottie. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Nell. And Dottie was getting ready to ask a question from the phone. What were you getting ready to say, Dottie?
Well, I took the shame class last fall too, and I've just got this seemingly bottomless pit inside. So I've been working on layer after layer after layer. You said it wouldn't cure it all, and boy, it hasn't. And it crops up. And yes, I see it more clearly now.
Thank you for sharing that, Dottie.
Thanks, Dottie. I'm curious too, in that seeing it more clearly now, do you feel more empowered to navigate it when it shows up?
What do you mean by navigate it?
Well, you know, and I'll speak for myself. In the past, I didn't even really quite realize what was going on, and so it seemed like, you know, like I'd blame others, you know, for things, and now I realize what's going on, and so I choose a different path basically because I realize that underneath that blame is something that I'm feeling, you know, uncomfortable about myself, that I'm feeling embarrassed or ashamed about. And I didn't realize that's what was going on before. So for me, I navigate that differently now. And I'm curious, maybe you have a different thing that shows up, and I wonder if that awareness has helped you.
Yes, and instead of, what I do is I say, oh, God, I'm mad or I'm resentful or whatever. What do I need to learn from this? Because obviously it's me, not the other person. They're just doing what they're doing. But there's something in here I need to learn. And there's usually a lot of hurt somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hurt. Mm-hmm. I bruise very easily these days. Yeah. Emotionally. I get hurt very easily. And when I get hurt, I noticed that just last week a friend had a birthday party for himself. I would have loved to have gone, but one of the guests is somebody that I don't get along with, and the guest can't stand me, so I wasn't invited. And that was 2 days worth of tapping to work through that one. Mm-hmm. It hurt.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, Dottie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all for my benefit. So uncorking the shame uncorks a lot of other stuff too.
This is true.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
All right. Well, I'd like to be in integrity with time, and we're right at the hour. So unless anybody has anything else they want to share, we'll go.
Thanks for
Thank
doing all you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
I know.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
If anybody has questions, we'll stay here for a couple minutes.
This is Dottie. I do.
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, Dottie.
Go ahead, Donnie.
Hi, is that Andrea?
No, that's just my day from in Indonesia.
Oh, hi,
Maite.
Maite. How are you
How-
doing over there?
I'm doing well. Well, thanks. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah. Good to hear yours too. I'm on the phone this time. I couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work on my tablet. I'm in a
Yeah.
hotel in near San Francisco for a 3-day class tomorrow that starts tomorrow on attracting clients. And that gal has a class that's starting on the 24th of February. And it's 7 weeks long, and it's Thursday mornings at 9 my time. So I definitely want to take the class that you're putting on, but I will only be able to do the last session live. And I still want to sign up.
Well,
But I
think
don't have a computer to work, so can we talk on the phone later and you can take my
Yes.
credit card information?
Yes,
Get the special.
we'll talk about that later, Dottie, but thank you for letting us know about that. Yeah, it's frustrating when
Yeah.
there's two things at the exact same time. I can understand that.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
good.
So, what time is the call again in the US so that I can consider
So
if,
my take
what
is
crazy
gonna be-
time that would be for me?
Yes, I don't know how to figure it for you. I'll have to let you do it, but it's going to be 12 noon Eastern time, New York time.
Oh yeah, that's midnight. This does midnight for me. I'm not. I don't think I can do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's midnight for me.
Yes, we really struggled with
Yeah, no, it's
timing.
okay. I will consider it anyway. You know, if probably I would just listen to the
replays.
the calls, the recordings. I probably that's not up, but I'll consider it anyway. But this was beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful.
Well, thank you,
class.
Maite. It's crazy early in the morning for you, Friday morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 8 a.m. now, so it was, call start at 7. Now it's 8, so it's not that bad.
Okay, so we're exactly 12 hours apart right now because it's 8 o'clock
yeah,
p.m. here. Okay.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Good to hear your voice, Maite.
Likewise. Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any last comments? If not, we're going to go ahead and go. Beth, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
It
And
was a
Sarah.
good class.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your research. It shows.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Yeah, we try, and I'll try to slow myself down the next time around.
Well, I think being on the phone did make it harder, I'm sure.
Yes. I look forward to the replay when I get home Sunday night.